Well, good day. Um, I'm sporting my Yellowstone shirt today, so I hope maybe you're a Yellowstone fan too. Um, anyway, I'm going to take a shot at doing a short video. Believe it or not, I guess that's the trend. Has been for a long time. It's also been a challenge for me because I definitely want to provide you with as much information as I can in the shortest period of time. And I think there's some a little bit of danger in doing short videos and kind of dropping bombs on people and then leaving people with that and not really, getting a chance to more fully explain things. That being said, you can always go to my channel and look at many of the other videos to put more kind of meat on the bones of what we're talking about. So to make it quick today and try this out, one of the things that I wanted to get to had to do with something I saw on an article that somebody wrote on LinkedIn the other day, and they were kind of complaining. There was actually somebody had passed on an article that somebody else had written, but they passed it on because they shared sentiments. And it was really kind of a rant about how, that their particular group, was not being heard, I guess you could say, or not being given its due by another group. And, you know, we live in a time right now where there's so much division, and in that division so many groups who feel like they want to be heard and understood and things of this nature. And I just wanted to bring to your attention and bring maybe to their attention this nasty trap that's going on with that. All right, so here's how it goes. People want to be deeply understood, feel deeply heard, etc. We all have that yearning, and I can tell you, let me just cut to the chase right now, it's never going to happen. No human being can ever fully understand another human being's experiences. But yet people are complaining, and demanding to be heard and understood completely. That can never happen, right? Well, even in groups, it never happens. In tribes, it never happens. In families, it never happens. Why? Because we're too unique. But here's what people do oftentimes is that they demand to be heard and to be deeply understood, and they'll go on to say that their lived experience is so unique that nobody could ever understand it. Do you see how childish that is? That's like a child throwing a tantrum, saying that they want to be heard or understood, but then they say that they're so special and so unique in their experience that they can never be understood. And so they end up kind of just attacking and beating up the people around them for not being understanding or not being willing to understand them. But who would be? I mean, when you invite somebody to get to know you and to understand you, and then you tell them that the uniqueness or depth of your lived experiences is so significant that you could never be understood, like that's just a trap, right? It's like, welcome to hell. The person who is stuck in this thing is going to be forever frustrated because two things: they're never going to feel understood. Why? Because they themselves say part of their narrative is that their unique experience disqualifies anybody from really understanding them. Again, that's the immaturity of the dynamic, and that's the trap of it. And anybody who's trying to be understanding is going to get frustrated and experience a sense of futility in trying to understand them, because it will never be enough for that person. And so, and I think this is where, we're stuck between two places. Yes, as human beings, we're social animals, and we're meant to be, with other people and to have communication, and rich and deep communication. And on the other hand, we're so unique that there's really no way that anybody could actually understand, understand us at the depth that we truly yearn for. That's why developmentally, if you will, and this is what maturity is. Mature development looks like a shift in orientation from horizontal to vertical. What does horizontal mean? It means that we're getting our needs met from people, but eventually we understand that people aren't perfect, that people come up short. Anybody who doesn't understand that is arrested, if you will, in their development. That's really immature to beat people up for not being perfect, because we're all imperfect. We all come up short. We all disappoint each other. And that's why as we mature, as we develop into mature beings, we move from a horizontal orientation, in other words, trying to get our needs met by people, to a vertical orientation. We get our needs met by something else. That's called transpersonal psychology. That's one way to think about it, is that we need to kind of make that transformation from the personal into something else, something bigger, what we call, and I use this term vertical, but really it means growing up. If you notice that our human language is, when we use the word up, like to grow up, we want to be grown-ups, we want to raise children up. We always using this idea of a vertical orientation, up, 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 up. There's something about that. In other areas, we might call it codependency. If somebody's just stuck in this horizontal orientation, always looking to people, right, to find a sense of themselves and get their needs met, when people are over dependent that way, we call it codependency. It's not a good thing. So part of growing up is this vertical orientation and being able to resolve this. Yes, we're in human bodies, we're human beings, we're social animals, and at the same time we also have to reconcile that none of us are perfect, and we're never going to really be able to walk in anybody's shoes completely. That is a maturational threshold in which we go vertical, and we begin to attach, if you will, we begin to unite with something bigger that can actually know us. Now, to keep this short, I can't take this conversation into that place, but we all know it to be true. And in some of my other videos, I've gotten into that. But the point of this short video is beware of that trap. Beware of that immaturity, because people are going to take a run at you. They're going to invite you into this trap of saying, you know what, you and your group, or whatever it is, need to get to know me and my group. And and they'll be demanding that happen. And then they'll come back at you and say, well, you know what, our experience is so unique and so deep that you will never really get to know us. Not only that, if you think that you know us, then that makes you ignorant. That makes you completely wrong. So they got you kind of trying to get you coming and going on this one. And it is nasty, because a lot of times people who kind of invite us into these traps have advanced degrees. They think they're pretty intelligent, but really that trap is just, I guess you could say, a little bit sophisticated. But it's very common these days, especially when there's all these divided groups, all wanting attention, all wanting to be heard, all wanting to be understood, and they're all demanding it. And the fact that they're demanding it is a whole other discussion on again on when any of us are pounding our fist on the table and demanding things, usually we don't get what we want, and it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy of tragedy. But for those of us who have the wisdom to be able to see the trap, do your best to stay clear of it. Humility always needs to be present. When people are pounding on the desk, and saying that they're so unique that they'll never be understood, that's connected to a narcissistic part of the psyche, and humility is much needed. In humility, it sounds like this: we're all special. That's what it means. We're all special. Or if I were to say, I'm special just like everybody else. I'm special just like everybody else. I'm unique just like everybody else. And that's the other piece of it too. And I'll leave it here, is that you're unique. I'm unique. There's never been anybody like you. There'll never be anybody like you. There's nobody like you right now alive. You are unique. That's either the good news or the bad news, depending on where you're coming from. But that's the truth about it. And no human being is ever going to be able to completely walk in your shoes. That's why we need to grow up. All right. So I hope this short video has been helpful. Take care. Bye.